Good morning from Lebeurs Montecuskri. The cold front that we had wasn't really that cold, but there was one night that went down to 3 degrees. Is slowly starting to move away now, and by middle of the week we should hit 27 degrees here. So it's going to be for the clouds to move a little bit, get a bit of sunshine. We're all ready for a little bit of sunshine. So strawberry season is happening this year. I've already stored 650 grams of strawberries frozen from our own garden, and today I picked up another 400 grams, and I want to keep these for eating for a bit longer. And what I read on the internet, so it must be true, is that if you give them a water vinegar solution bath, they do last longer. Now that's generally a good idea for getting rid of pesticides and that kind of stuff. I don't put anything on my plants, so that I don't have any pesticides here. But we do live in there's a fair bit of farms around here, so there could be some in the air pollution. But also it does take kind of the natural stuff out of it that will make them age quicker. If there's any bugs, little bugs there that might be eating it, they're all out of it. So yeah, check this out. Mighty strawberries. So today I'm going to continue with more gardening. I had a few, as I said before, a few courgette plants that didn't make it. Slugs had a feast on them. So I've been preparing the soil for the next batch, and I'm getting ready to plant tomatoes. My tomatoes are still a little bit young because I've grown them from a seed. Note for next year, start earlier than you think, because I thought I was starting early. So tomato plants, I'm going to put them in probably, I don't know, in a greenhouse at January, February next year. February latest, I think, early February. Give them really time to become as strong as possible before that. They're still a little bit on the smaller side that I would like them to be, but they're much better than they were a couple of weeks ago when I was looking at them. So now, today I'm going to start planting stuff in the ground. Officially in France, this is the time when the last frost has passed. So yeah, time to plant. In my books, when it comes to the war on slugs, all is fair. Now, I was talking to a good friend of mine, reasonably new friend, but a very good friend, Nick, who lives only 5 minutes away from our house. Cork generally is something that slugs don't particularly like, and the problem is that cork is very dense and hard when it comes in this format, and it's tough to break it down and make it like crumbly and that kind of stuff. But Nick said that he's tried just put the corks into the soil as they are, and it seems to be surprisingly effective. So we're going to be trying that this year. Going to be trying that a lot, because everything is going to be anything that can work for against the slugs. For me, I'll take it. So here we go. We're going to be planting corks. Now don't get excited, these won't turn into bottles of wine by next year. What are you doing, huh? What are you doing, huh? Gotta really protect this area, because this is gonna be courgettes. Comfortable there? Courgettes are one of those funny plants that they are the beginning of the season, before they actually gonna settle in the ground. They're very fragile, but once they get going, they are very resilient and very kind of tough. Like they can even get they get this powdery mildew sometimes on them, and they still keep on producing. Like it doesn't kill the plant, you know what I mean? Even though that there are ways to avoid that as well. And courgettes are really one of my favorite plants to grow. It's just, I don't know, something about them. I love eating them. I think they look cool, and they provide. Like literally, the night before there might be a tiny courgette. The next day come, it's a big thing. So yeah, they're one of my favorites, definitely. Okay, I'm gonna just have to take a lunch break. The morning's gonna gone quicker than I thought. Just disappeared. But you know, I started to compost this morning, which is pretty solidly going already. I guess the point that the more I, you know, not more, but like if I can turn it around a couple of times a week, then it'll start working really fast. That's what I'm hoping for. Then I harvested the strawberries and processed them, and then I planted courgettes. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants. Hopefully they do better than the last batch. And I planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cucumber plants. Those of you who know anything about any of those things know that that's a lot. But I'm working on a numbers game that, you know, if a couple of them survive, that's plenty. If all of them survive, then we have an ample amount of food to eat. Eat courgettes and cucumbers until we are fed up with them. Now I'm started planting tomatoes. I'm going to continue the tomatoes and peppers. I think they're chili peppers or cayenne peppers that I'm planting. I'm not even sure anymore because I've planted so much stuff that I got mixed up what's in what pot. And yeah, mark them, JP. You know, I know. Never remember to do that. Anyway. So we put a couple of hours into this, and then after that I have to go inside and start editing videos. Yeah, it's going to be a busy week. I'm going to have to, this Saturday coming up, we have Natalie's father's side of the family reunion, which is it's quite an exceptional event. I've been there now. I've only been once. It's only happened once since I've been here, and they rent the kind of town hall in Leze because that's how much space they need. There's roughly about 80 people usually at it. It's quite a phenomenal thing, and it's an all-day event of, you know, food and drinks, and I think I'm playing there as well. I'm not sure yet. I know, sounds a bit ominous, but that's the way these events kind of go. It usually be the last minute thing. Sure, JP's going to be playing there. I was like, okay, so now I have to bring the guitar and the sound system and everything, but I don't mind. It's you know, it's family and all that, so it's a pleasure to do that. Now, while we are doing that on Saturday, there's people coming over to finish the render on the wall between us and the neighbour, which is great because that's kind of the one thing that's been holding us back getting that wall finished. Then after that we can start putting on the aluminium facade over it. So I'm going to start already this week to screw the legs or the stands that go into the top part. I'm gonna bottom plates. I'm gonna start screwing them into place and have them all ready to go. So then next week, me and Frank can start putting the last bit of the wall up, and that's it. Maybe you still have to hang the gate, but yeah, we're definitely getting there. So then this and next week, there's going to be a lot of jobs to be done in the garden. The wall is going to have a major shift of getting closer to done, and I have a lot of little jobs that I have to get around to doing, and then I need to try to get some music done as well. So yeah, busy few weeks ahead of us. But I'm so happy that the weather is changing and I get to be in the garden more. That's the good life, you know. Okay, once again, quick update. So I have planted a lot. But once again, I don't think everything's going to survive the slugs. So the way I see it is, I plant more than I need, and if they survive, excellent. Anyway, I'll show you a little bit of what's going on. This bed here is tomatoes. They don't look like much right now, but they're there. And then there's peppers in between. I'm pretty sure they are cayenne peppers. I hope they're cayenne peppers. I love cayenne pepper. But a few leftovers are putting up here on the higher bed as well, because I had more than I thought I would need. But I still have plenty in the in the terrace. So this is all tomatoes. Here already we can see the peas are coming up already, which I planted a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. In this bed, I have salads here growing, which are gone to seed. Well, they're going to flower in a bit, and then they're going to turn into seed. But I'm keeping them there because I want to keep the seeds and hopefully have my own seeds next year. Here we have several little cucumber plants. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in total. Anybody who's ever grown cucumbers know that that's a lot. Again, I don't think they're all going to survive. Hopefully some of them will. And here I have 6 courgette plants, and yes, they're grown quite close to each other, but again, I don't believe all of them are going to survive. Let's see. But that's a big start to the planting. And today that's enough, because I want to do some video editing as well. And to be honest with you, I've been in the garden since 9 a.m. and now it's like 4 p.m. So yeah, I think it's time to do something else. Change of scenery. Right, let's go for it. Okay, today is one of those days. I was up very early. I was watering the garden. Then I needed to prepare the wall outside for the render to come on it, so to kind of flatten my side of it, and so that took us an hour and a bit of hacking with the drill. But it's done. Then I had to cut all the grass at the back and around the fence so that they can get into it, no problem. And when I talk about grass, I'm talking about not a lawnmower. I'm talking about this weed whacker beast, which gives me solid 15 to 20 minutes of work, and then I have to take it apart because the coil gets melting. So yeah, that took a good half of the day. At the end of it, you have to pick up some stuff that would be compost after that. At the end of it, I was wrecked. I need to get a bit of a nap. Now I'm back up and I'm continuing. After the render goes on the wall, there's going to be this aluminium kind of thing above it. So right now I am doing the pillars. So basically we have one of these simple beams with a base plate, and I have to screw it at the bottom of it, which is it's no rocket science, but it's a bit tedious because they're tight. Purpose of it being that they're tight, obviously. And the hay fever season is here, so there you go. Yeah, a couple of really busy days of grinding, but hey, we're getting somewhere. 1. 8 done, 5 more to go. What are they? Huh? What are they? Done. I have one that I couldn't do because it has a bit of a problem. There's a bit of a bend happened on this one, obviously on the transport, so we have to see whether we need to replace it, or I could try to bend it straight, but if I do, the powder coating is gonna go, and yeah, that ain't good for the longevity of the thing. And also the inside of it is a bit bent, that part, so that kind of worries me a little bit how the things are gonna fit in. They should be okay though. They're the lower ones, and they don't actually touch. They only touch the inside part of it, the inside groove of it. So they should fit in no problem. But yeah, I might have to put some wood in there and try to bend it. We'll see, or we get a new one. Hopefully not, because I want to get this done. Okay, good morning from the Beurs met de Gusri, having my coffee, and I am potting stuff. So, beginning of the season, I planted a lot of herbs and celery, just herbs and celery, into these kind of just simple little trays. Now they got to a point that it's starting to be warm enough to put them outside. So I'm separating them now into pots. Like this here is sage, and I'm putting them into little pots right now, so they have a little bit more time to get bigger and stronger, and the roots are more sturdier before I put them in the down. But loads of basil down. Some of it I put it in the pots. Some of it I would now transfer directly to the ground beside the tomatoes. I'm gonna kind of do a lot of this kind of few different ways of experimenting, of see how things go this year, because just get an idea what works the best and what doesn't. These are my little baby celery plants, which I'm really excited to see if I can get them to go. Apparently celeries are hard to grow from a seed, but I'm taking on the challenge. I have loads of thyme, and it smells so good. The basil doesn't smell as strong yet. It has to be a bit bigger before it starts smelling like. But the thyme already smells like. And I mean, this is basically good to already use for cooking if you want. But I just want to make lots of it. And I've actually so much that if everything goes according to my plan, which is that a lot of it takes on in the ground, I will have a lot of leftovers, and I know not everybody's excited about that, but for me, they're, especially for the people that I know that will enjoy them, they're really nice little gifts as well, you know. Sage. All of them. All of them. So yeah, that's what we're doing today, or this morning. Hopefully, I'm kind of feeling, I've worked pretty flat out for the past few days between the garden and the wall and all that sort of stuff, so I'm hoping that I could go to the caravan and make some music later on today, so let's see how that goes. Okay, I kind of wrapped up today here in the caravan. Yeah, I wrote a new song. I wrote and recorded a new song. Once again, like lately, I love producing music. I love making sounds and all that sort of stuff. But once in a while it happens, and this is the second time it happens in the space of like a couple of months, that song just comes out and it just screams for nothing else than acoustic guitar and the voice. And this one worked really, really great. I don't know. Maybe I'll bundle the acoustic ones some stage into some sort of EP or something that, like, you know, people can, who prefer that kind of stuff, can find them easier, and the more produced one in a different one. I don't know. Anyway, this is great for me to be able to. I'm a little bit ahead of the game now, and then I also started working on a new riff, which, the thing is, like, now that I started playing with the band again, and because it's a different kind of band that I played in a long while. I'm starting to hear things in my head of like something that would actually work with the band, and I'm starting to obviously. And I always do this. I start writing specifically for a specific project when it's in my mind a lot, and yeah, it's definitely coming, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's gonna take. Because yeah, I think there's some really interesting music coming out very soon. Because the thing is that with Dave and Frank, we can really do. You know, I love that three-piece thing of keep it simple, but at the same time do as much as you can with those three instruments, and we're kind of on the same page about that, and I'm really looking forward to experimenting with that more and more and more. So yeah, definitely going to be writing songs specifically that in mind in the future. But yeah, very successful day. Planted ridiculous amount of stuff in the garden. Repotted ridiculous amount of stuff. Um, Harvested another 200 grams of strawberries. We're at 1.5 kilos of strawberries I picked up this year so far. And it's like, yeah, it'd be at least double of that before the season's over. And just from a little bed, could be a bit more. We shall see. But now let's just hope that the slugs don't eat everything I planted, and hopefully I'll have some plants making their way. And then afternoon here in the caravan studio, and very successful. So great day all around. Maybe I deserve a beer. What do you think? Slugs. Okay. Strawberries. You just saw the batch where I was picking them up. That's all we have. And all we did was we planted them last year. A little bit late in the season, like it was still, it was May or whatever. And they produced a nice bit of strawberries. Nothing crazy. And then the slugs had their own feast on them, and so we lost a fair bit, but still, it was a beginning. I'm not an expert on these strawberries, and I've learned more in the past year than I knew before. So strawberries they winter really well, and the plant, the spot where the fruits were or the berries were made this year, will not produce next year. But the plant will grow new strands, and the plants that we put down last year, I can't remember how many plants it was. It wasn't that many. I'm kind of thinking maybe 8. Um, I might be wrong. Um, they just spread like wildfire, like crazy, and I mean this is today's harvest. It's probably going to bring our total harvest so far, and I've literally been harvesting them for the past week, and I think we're close enough to 2 kilos of strawberries come out of the ground. So, but also strawberries are the one plant that I remember my grandmother having a garden. Um, I think my uncle owns the house now, so the space is still there. And she had batches of everything, and she grew everything. And she grew potatoes, she grew peas, she grew probably a lot more than I even understood as a kid at that time. Rhubarb and all that sort of stuff. But she had a batch of strawberries, not much bigger than what we have. And I remember being a kid then. That was just the best thing ever when they came in the season. That was just better than any candy, you know. And here's the thing: the slugs and ants get in there, and they do eat a bit. But like something like this, all you have to do is cut that bit off. And we're too obsessed about perfection when we go to the shop and get our. We want them to be perfect, you know. But I guarantee you, that will taste better than anything you get in the shop. These make me happy. Happy gardening. Okay, tomorrow this 25-meter wall is going to get rendered. We're going to have people coming to do it, which I'm really happy about, because we have a family reunion to go to tomorrow, so we can't be here for most of the day. But our neighbour Frank was going to be supervising the job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it is going to look like tomorrow night when we come back here and see it in all its glory. That is one of the last steps. After that, we're going to put pillars and aluminium kind of palisade on the wall, which is going to kind of stop us bothering the neighbour and neighbour bothering us and all that sort of stuff. So, and then that wall is done, which I'm really happy about. So I probably won't be filming much of that tomorrow, because I'll be having fun with relatives. This is the material they're using for the render. I haven't ever worked with it. I don't know what it's like, but I'm looking forward to see the results. And there's a fair bit of it here. That should do. Well, I suppose 50 meters of it, 25 meters of one side. There we go. Right. Okay. Welcome to our terrace. This is my office today. It is 22 degrees outside right now. The iPhone is saying that the real feel is 25 degrees right now, and it does feel hotter than 22, definitely. It's gonna go up to 27 degrees today, and for the next foreseeable future, that is as cold as it's gonna get. Like it's the top temperatures are gonna be bouncing around about 32 degrees. This is kind of the first proper heat wave of the season. The weather forecast so far is from the people in the know, say that it's at least 15 days of this. So I'll be watering the garden a lot. The summers do get here quite hot. When the summers get hot, what you have to do is, like, whatever I need to do outdoors, I need to do it early. Now it's still kind of pleasant, so I can actually sit outside here in a shade and do stuff on the computer. But when we hit 32 degrees, it's until the sun goes on the other side of the building completely. Even this is going to be hot. You won't be staying here too long. The one thing that I was surprised about, coming from living in Finland and then living in Ireland, the cold is the thing that you're going to struggle with the most in the houses. Here, what surprised me was that it's we have very well insulated house, so it's very easy to heat up. But the houses do get very hot. But if you remember the rendered wall in our dining room, kitchen area, the rendered wall that I took down and exposed the stones. What I didn't even know at the time, and I was told about it, and I kind of wanted the exposed wall more than I thought about the consequences of it. I was told that will always keep the temperature in that room lower. Now that's also where our pellet fire heater is. So that's every winter, that's the hottest of the rooms, because that's where the heat pumps out first before it spreads around the house. And that exposed wall has become a brilliant thing, because it keeps that dining area a little bit cooler even when it's pumping the hot air around the house. But also on summertime, and last summer we had some really decent heat waves here, the temperature inside the house never went above 23 degrees. And that is just unreal. We don't have any air conditioning or nothing. And that's, it's 23 inside. It's hot, but it's manageable. You can live on it. It's one of those, JP's stubborn mindsets on design actually turned out to be a brilliant idea in the end. So, yeah. But now we're on to a first heat wave. First proper heat wave of the season. So things are about to heat up. Spinning around like a broken record, bouncing back like an echo. What good is it all to you when there's nothing left to do? When the sun sets for the last time, you know it's too late to cry. When the day finally comes around, it ain't sticking around long enough to start something new. You walk the steps and pave the ground, and still somehow it's so tough when they take you for a fool. When the day finally comes around, it ain't sticking around long enough to start something new. You walk the steps and pave the ground, and still somehow it's so tough when they take you for a fool.